We will begin with a presentation from Nafsika Papageorgiou, and the second session is a presentation by Lefteris Tsabbasis. They're both assistant professors in the campus where you're going to visit in a couple of weeks, and we're going to have our workshop in Psachna, 1.5 hours outside Athens. And without delaying this more, I would like to introduce Nafsika Papageorgiou, who is an assistant professor in the Department of Agricultural Development, Agri-Food and Management of Natural Resources. And her expertise is on water biodiversity. And we're very happy to have you, Nafsika, in our project presenting your expertise in this particular workshop.
Hello, everybody. As also Dimitris already told you, I'm a scientist from natural sciences. So I will introduce you today. I try to introduce you to what actually we mean when we talk about water or marine biodiversity. I tried to keep it very easy for people that are not biologists or at least familiar with more scientific terms. I hope it will make sense and that it will be interesting for you. So the first thing I thought that I have to explain you is some things about not especially for biodiversity, but in general for the term ecology and then for biodiversity, because all these terms, also sustainability, are interrelated, actually. What is ecology? When it's a relative new term, when Darwin was writing The Origin of Species, this term was not existing. So Darwin compared the interaction between species in nature with what happens in human communities with consumer and businesses. So it used the term economy of nature when he wanted to describe what we now use the term of ecology. Actually, the term ecology was coined by 19th century German scientist Ernst Haeckel, and during the last centuries, this word was very much appreciated. It have many admirers. And the science of ecology, which is a part of it, it's also biodiversity, has a social impact unlike, I think, any other academic field of research. Why I say that? Have you seen a lot of different t-shirts or advertisers or walls pictures that include the term ecology in it? It's one of the, or maybe with astrophysics, some terms of astrophysics that are used in popular culture, and it's used from so many different people around the world. We have parties, political parties, and also the politicians speak very often about ecology. We don't have about a party about comparative linguistics or advanced paleontology. So it's really a term that is used from everyone nowadays. Of course, what we scientists mean with the term ecology has a little bit to do with environmentalism, what is the protection of nature. All these social movements to protect the planet focus on protecting the animals and the life forms of the earth, but ecology gives us, the scientific term of ecology gives us the tools to actually do it and propose solutions how to do this. And of course, society should understand this and should try to see that and see that it's not always ecology what the politicians talk about, but it's some other factors that everybody has to think about when talks about ecology. So ecology is, as the term was defined by Ernst Haeckel, is the scientific study of the interactions between organisms and the environment. Or a more newer definition, it's, it's according to another very famous ecologist, is the scientific study of the interactions that determine the distributions between the organisms and the environment. But why I'm talking about ecology, what has to do with biodiversity? They're really closely linked. Ecology explores the relationships between species and their environment and the diversity of life. But biodiversity focus on the variety of life, what exists in this planet, from genes to ecosystems. That means that describes, it's estimated, around 10 million different species of animals, plants, fungi, or different countless varieties of bacteria. And it starts from different genes and can describe also different ecosystems, different communities. So it's all the diversity we see around us. If we are in a natural environment, if we're in a city, everywhere it's biodiversity. And it is a term that it's relatively new also, much more newer than ecology. And it's increasingly used in scientific literature. It's almost exponential how this is used nowadays in the scientific literature. So also the scientists are very interested about it. And it's also used by many different politicians, generalists, everybody. Like I said, this is also a part of the popular culture and nowadays. And of course, it's also very different what a university department means with biodiversity, what a member of Greenpeace, let's say, means about that, a journalist, the archbishop, or even a politician means about that. And I think it's very important that, because in general, your project is about sustainability, which biodiversity is a big part of sustainability. It's very good to know what really is, so that you can also clarify, understand if something what someone says in the media or in general, it has an importance or not. There is not one definition of biodiversity. There are many definitions. DeLong in 1996 examined 85 different definitions. But we have one that it's the definition that it was contained in the Convention on Biological Diversity, which was done in 1992. It's a landmark convention because it was in Rio, because it was the first time that it was a convention about the environment, and what then was actually framed all the principles that now use about sustainability, biodiversity, ecology were by this convention were defined, and it was the first time that it were inside in a legal and policy document. So it was very important that was done that in 1992, and of course from that time to now, some things have changed, but still it's a legal document that we use a lot. So according to the convention, biodiversity, it's the diversity among living organisms and include all the different ecosystem and all the different ecological units. So it's the diversity within species, between species, and between species and ecosystems. This was a small introduction about in general, biodiversity. So when I speak about biodiversity, it's very it's about this and not another term that maybe it's used more commonly from the politics or for policy making. And when I'm talking about sustainability, I'm talking about sustainable environments, okay, which is a part of the bigger term of sustainability in general. So in this next part of my lecture, I wanted to show you what we mean when we say about marine biodiversity. I will talk about sea biodiversity, marine biodiversity, and not in general about aquatic ecosystems, because the most of the water in the planet, it's in the oceans. So the seas is the most important part of water ecosystems that we have, and everything that it's included. So the main organisms that are included in the marine ecosystems are included also maybe in small freshwater ecosystems. They have much lesser biodiversity than the big marine ecosystems. But of course, we can see a lot of organisms that we see also in the sea. We can see also in lake or river ecosystems. So the aquatic ecosystems can be, of course, oceans, can be estuaries, but can be also lake and rivers. It's in general the water. The marine ecosystems, when we speak about marine ecosystems, there are so different between each other that we try to classify them, and we classify them according to different definitions. It depends on what we examine. So we can examine them from the distance from the coast. It's a coastal or it's open sea, which is different. Or from the depth of the water. We can have shallow waters, we can have deep waters, or the light penetration. We can have zones that the light penetrates and zones that there is no light. And of course, then we have the open water, which is the water, and then we have the seabed, which is the scientific term for the seabed in biology. It's benthos. It's actually an ancient Greek word that was used by the scientists of the 18th century to describe all the animals that live in and on the seabed. So first of all, let's see what lives in the water. The water, one of its very important things is that all the organisms that live in it, they move in 3 dimensions. So they are more movable than we are in our 2-dimensional environment that we move around in the land. First of all, we have some very, very small organisms that most of them, we cannot see them with bare eyes. The plankton. The plankton can be small, very microscopic algae, which maybe somebody says that it's not that important, but it's one of the most important organisms that live in the planet. They do the most of the photosynthesis in the oceans, and actually these small creatures are the reason that we have oxygen in the planet. All the oxygen that it was produced in the early times of the history of planet Earth was produced from these organisms, and they enrich the atmosphere with oxygen so that other organisms can also move around and go out of the water. Except of the phytoplankton, you can see here, they have very different sizes and different morphologies. Some of them, they're like stars, some of them have like a skeleton, so they're really nice. Then we have some also microscopic animals, which are these are the zooplankton. They can be like shrimps, they can be like jellyfishes, or they are small the larvae of fish. And of course, all these are the basis of the food web, because it's the food for smaller fishes, and this can feed also bigger and bigger fishes in the sea. So they're also really important. And some very big fish, or marine organisms like whales, they feed from these organisms and not from bigger ones. Then we have some bigger organisms in the open water, which is the nekton. These can move around. They have fins, or they are very good swimmers. And here we can see all the fishes we know, also the sharks that are not in the same, they are not in the same category like fish, they're other kind of fish. And then we have all the squids, all on the octopus. They are really good swimmers. They can live really in very deep waters, and the sizes can be from 20 centimeters to 20 meters. They can be really, really big. So we have all the variations of morphologies, and all these animals depends. They can be colorful, or they can be only brown. It depends from where they live. Then we have the sea turtles. We know that there are only 7 different species of sea turtles around the planet. They are all protected. And of course, they are threatened by human activities because we destroy their nesting areas. They go out on the coast to lay their eggs. And also they can be trapped in nets or killed by propellers of boats. In the Mediterranean and around Evia, where we were going to be, we can see 3 species of turtles. Caretta caretta, which spawns in Greece, and it has very large populations, and this is the most common one that maybe if you are lucky enough, you can see it. And then we have the Dermochelis coriacea and the green turtle, which are more passing through Greece, and they are not spawned here. Another very cute animal that belongs to the nekton are the seals. They are also rest on the land and also give birth to their youngs, also the pups in the sand. Seals have ancestors that live on the land, and their feet became fins. They can be weighed up to 300 kilos. They're really big. They're like also their length, it's almost like a human. They live about 45 years, and they live our seals around here in shallow waters, and they can dive up with small crabs, some small shrimp. In the Mediterranean and in Greece, we have only one species of seals, Monachus monachus, which here is Evia. You can see that here in the North Evia, there is a big population. There were not much left. It was started before 30, 40 years to be protected in Greece. And now we're fortunate enough to have more than 300 Mediterranean seals that live around. The most of them lived in this reserve, which is a natural park for monk seals. They have been hunted by man mostly because they destroyed the nets, not because they had any other problem with them. Then we have 2 very big animals that live also in the open waters, whales and dolphins. They're also marine mammals. They also came from this very strange creature that lived on the land. And they have these very important things that they have very good hearing. They can really have the ability to hear in extremely high and low frequencies. Also, they have some systems to perceive sound, the auditory bulla, which is a specialized bone structure in the ear, and jaw hearing, they can hear some noises and understand some vibrations from their jaw. I'm not an expert, but this is what I know. Also, they can really talk a lot. They produce a lot of sounds. The whale singing is very well known, and when the planet was more quiet and was not that many ships around, they say that really through the water, the sound could pass and go through the oceans from the Atlantic to the Pacific, and different individuals distance really hundreds of thousands of kilometers away could hear each other. We have two different kinds of species, the ones that bear teeth and the ones that have baleen. All of them, they have been hunted by man. Still, there's some countries like Japan hunt whales. Other causes of death are nets, propellers, pollutions, and of course noise pollution. Most of the whales now, they are deaf because of so much noise that it's in the sea right now from the marine traffic. Whales also, just to say that they have this water jet we see. It's not a water jet, actually. It's air, warm air that comes out from this nostril. Actually, their nose went from their head here, went back. So they have this nose here and take out the air when they come up to the surface after a long dive. Whales can dive up very deep, to 2,000 meters deep, for more than an hour. They live like 70 to 100 years. They give birth every 2 to 3 years. The blue whale, which is the biggest one, it's 33 meters long and weighs more than 130 tons. Its tongue only weighs 4 tons, so it's really big. And in Greece, we have 3 species of whales passing by, and we have what is extraordinary permanent populations of sperm whales. Sperm whales, normally they're migratory animals, but here in the waters of Greece, they live permanently and they have also their own dialect. Sperm whales are very talkative. They speak all the time. When they dive, they make also a lot of sounds to communicate with the pups that are staying on the surface. So they're really now, these populations are examined and studied because it's very peculiar what they do here the whole year and they don't move around. Another part of the cetaceans, it's dolphins. They can be from 2 to 10 meters. Also to say here that orcas, killer whales, are also dolphins, are not whales. They have this specialized sonar system, a sound detection system that can help them find fish and eat them. They're very social animals, live in big groups. Sometimes also these groups are not from one species, but more than one species. And they communicate with a kind of language which is called clicks. And they have different clicks from different things. Some of them we know what it means, not for all of them. And also it depends from the area they live, they have different dialects of clicks. They are very intelligent, of course, as you, I think you know. And from the 37 different species of dolphins, 9 of them, we found them also in Greece. We have also one subpopulation of dolphins, this here zone dolphin that lives in the Corinthian Gulf, which is near Athens. And this has been included in the International Union for Conservation of Nature as an endangered species. It has a probability of extinction in the next 10 years. And there are only very few individuals left. The importance of this subpopulation is, as I said, that they have their own language. So if this doesn't exist anymore. Also, their language will be not exist. So this was the animals that we usually find in the waters. But what's also very interesting is that we find a lot of animals not only in the waters, but also around the seabed, the benthos. So in the bottom, what is very important, first of all, it's what kind of substrate, what kind of bottom we have. We can have rocky, so with rocks, gravel, so big gravels, or sand or mud. And the animals that live in these different substrates are different. There are different communities. Some of these animals can live in all of them, but there are some specialized, and all these communities are different with each other. The hard substrate, it's the hard, the rocky source and the hard seabeds. We can find hermit crabs, urchins, sea anemones, sea stars, some different worms. And also we can find around big rocky shores, we could find also this Mediterranean mussel, this Mediterranean Pinna nobilis, it's called, which was a very common shell that was existing here. But unfortunately, it had a massive mortality due to a pest. It is believed that due to the climate change, the waters were more warm and this bacteria was infected. All the Pinna nobilis of the Mediterranean, we had massive deaths, and now it's critically endangered, and now it has the population starting a little bit to find some individuals again. It was full here, also in Evia was really full all the place. With snorkeling, you could also see now there's no an animal exist anymore. Other organisms that belong to the rocky shores and seabeds are mussel seabeds, are some different animals that live stuck on the rocks, also sea stars, sea anemones. All these are animals that live in hard substrates. Then we have the soft substrate animals that live upon or inside the sediment. And here we have a big variety of organisms. It can be like shrimps, it can be like worms, we have slugs, we have snails. All what we know that exist of course in different forms also in the sandy bottoms. The classification we use for the organisms that live in the benthos, it's normally according to their size. There are also other classifications, but this is the one that we use most commonly. So we have the big animals that are more than 5 centimeters, the medium animals that are from 500 micrometers, so 0.5 millimeters to 5 centimeters. Then we have myofauna, which from 63 micrometers to 500 micrometers. And then we have microfauna, which is really, really small animals that live in the sediment. Macrofauna, it's with green because it's one kind of organism, one size of organisms that we use to very often to, if we want to describe how's the quality of the environment. They're very good indicators to show us what is the pollution of the area, if there is any pollution, if there is an impact of a human activity. So we use them very often. Also here we can find different worms, sea stars, all the organisms, but in smaller sizes. The species that belong to this category are from smaller sizes. And these two categories, there are organisms that they are so small that they can move around the different granules of the substrate, of the sediment. Then we have the coastal habitats, where are the areas very near to the sea and in the sea that it's very near to the coast until to 200 meters depth. They are really different from the open oceans, as you can understand. In the land, we can find sand dunes, or we can find rocky shores, of course, again, with different plants, lilies, or even trees. Here in Evia, you will see, we will visit also a beach with has trees until the water. It will be very nice. Then we have shallow waters. They have different organisms, different plant communities mostly that divides them, and they have very large biodiversity. These very important biodiversity hotspots, let's say, are the giant kelp forests in very cold waters. They are the coral reefs in the tropics. But here in the Mediterranean, we have temperate waters. They are not very, very warm. Also, when you come, it will not be really warm, but I think it will be okay for swimming. We have the seagrass meadows or the seagrass beds. What are these? They are plants that make like a grass field, like a meadow, are very important communities because they can mitigate the greenhouse effect. They produce a lot of oxygens, and they are very good pollution indicators. If there is a reason of pollution, then they really die, all of them. Also, it's very peculiar that they are actually plants. They are not algae. Their ancestors used to live in the land. It looked like these lilies. They look now like grass, but normally they were bigger plants. They don't have big flowers because they don't use pollinators. The pollens can move around with water currents. And some of them, they grow up in meadows and can be also together with other species or with other algae. Around the world, there are 50 to 60 species known, but here in the Mediterranean, we have 3 to 4. The most important is Posidonia oceanica, which is also exists around Greece. And it's very, very important for the Mediterranean ecosystems. Around them, they live a lot of different plants, also different organisms. Here you can see some pictures of these organisms. Also, a lot of fish and other animals go there to give birth of their young, or the juveniles go there just to stay until they grow up, to hide, because there's a very good hiding area. So they're really, really important, like forests in the sea, for all the organisms that live in the Mediterranean Sea. And it's believed that it's breeding and feeding area for more than 1,000 species of marine animals. Some residues of these seagrasses you can find, and you will see also on the beaches of Greece or other Mediterranean countries. It looks like that, and they smell very intensively. But these are residues. They are the plant, like if you are walking on a forest, you can see down on the ground the leaves that they have fallen. In the sea, they cannot stay around because they have water current, so they washed out on the shore. And you can see here how these formations, the brown formations, are these rests of the Posidonia or other seagrass meadows. And maybe you were lucky enough and find these small balls that are also produced by plant rest and the water currents. They make this small artifact that is also washed away and carried out to the shore. So this was a small introduction about what you will see also, you can find in the bottom of the sea in the Mediterranean. And Mediterranean Sea can also be really deep, can be like 4,000 meters depth, and you can think that the light goes to 1,000 meters depth. So after that, we have the aphotic zone. There is no light, it's everything black. But we can find here also a lot of fish, squid, and benthic animals. You see here, this is a small, Dumbo octopus. Here we have this strange fish or this giant squid. The most of these animals that live in so deep waters, they're luminiferous. They produce light to attract partners or to attract prey. And some of these very peculiar shrimp, it's not a shrimp, it's an isopod. Normally it's like 2 centimeters long, but in the depth, they can be really, really big, to become very, very big. So, and then we have also in the abyssal zone, in the aphotic zone, some very strange environments. We have mud volcanoes. We have volcanoes that explode mud. Then we have hydrothermal vents, which are vents that produce different gases like methane or CO2, and they harbor a lot of different organisms that live from a source of food. They have these vents, and it's believed that from vents like that started also the life on Earth. And then we have the anoxic hypersalinic lakes, where are some lakes in the water, in the ocean, where it's very, the salinity is very high, so they're really salty, and they are like different water in the water. So this was what I wanted to say about water biodiversity. And now, of course, in the next course, we will describe more what we think and how you can connect marine biodiversity with your projects. But I wanted just to give you an idea how we could do this. We could use this ROV, this remote operated camera with this small vehicle or a drone, let's say, which has a cable and it has a camera, and we can drive it from the shore. So this is the small ROV. Okay. Here is how we can use it and see, put it on the sea, and then when can we put it inside? Okay, it goes inside. We have also a boat following it, so to see where it is. This is how it goes inside. This is from a diver, of course, it's not from itself. And this is what we can see below the water, okay, under the surface of the water. These are some sea cucumbers. This is an area we did a survey some time ago. And also here are some pictures, how we can also drop it, not from the from a bigger height. You can drop it inside. And then also we see some sand sediments around. You see, you can move it around. You can go to the surface or bring it down back to the sediment. And just to see some photos, some video, how it is. These are the seagrasses I was talking about. This is not Posidonia oceanica. This is another one, Cimodocea, but it's also around the seabed, you see, and around you can see some animals, some holes from animals, different, and the light, how it moves. So this is just to get an idea what we could use, some research machines that we use normally to do research also in your project. Oops. So thank you. This is also how it's the time when we do sampling. It's very nice. So bring your swimming suits with you for sure.